The CharCole podcast is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Any reproduction, rebroadcast, or reuse of any of the materials contained within this podcast is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of the CharCole podcast. Welcome back to the CharCole podcast. This is the 5th episode of Season 2. We're going to recap all of the football championship games. But first, we're going to start off with our picks, our bracket picks for 11B.
So first off, we're going to start off with Kobe Kaiser. His final score pick for the 11B game, winner BE. He picked winner 28-21. He was 17 points off and got last place in the pick'em.
Second to last, Coach K. He also chose winner over Bridgewater Emory, but his final score guess was 34-12. The actual final score was 18-14, 16 points off.
Lane Espedal also has 16 points off, picked 14-2. Final score 18-14. Lane ended up in tied second to last.
Pretty sure this bracket was actually supposed to be last because Jordan Stoltz picked Bridgewater Emory over winner, but he was 12 points off.
Right.
So, whatever.
Yeah, he was kind of there since the week we decided to disqualify him.
Yeah.
Dylan Reimnitz, 11 points off. He picked the 24-19 winner, and he was 11 points off.
Dawson Gerlach, he picked winner over Bridgewater 26-12, so he was 10 points off.
Cole Pranger picked winner over Bridgewater Emory 16-7, and he was 9 points off.
Chris Meyer, very similar guess to him, picked 16-8, so he was 8 points off total.
Lincoln Clues picked winner over Bridgewater 24-14, had the 14 part right in the Bridgewater, but 6 points off for him.
Mason Hetland had almost the closest score. He picked 20-12, so he was 4 points off.
And our bracket champion, Reed Russ, who is sitting in the audience today, was 2 points off the final score, picked winner over Bridgewater 16-14. Final score was 18-14. Congratulations, Reed Russ. We can have a round of applause for him in here. And then you can hit your bracket.
So we're going to our picks. Overall, I thought it was a really good tournament. Overall,
Yep.
The last game was really good. I had winner winning 30-14. It was only 18-14, so I was 12 points off. Close to last, but overall it was a pretty good game, I thought.
Yeah, we can talk about the game here, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Winner Bridgewater Emory, obviously the rematch of last year. I picked it 22-8. I was 10 points off. I was kind of in the middle of the pack there.
Yeah.
But obviously, props to our winner and everyone who kind of did this with us. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, actually. So now we'll get into the stats recap of every game that happened on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll start off with 9B.
So 9B, Del Rapids St. Mary took on Woolsey Wessington. We both seen these two teams coming into here, but we ended up taking Woolsey Wessington, and that's what happened. No turnovers in this game. You can kind of hit the stats here.
It was a pretty good game, pretty balanced, and Platte pulled away with it. In the first quarter, Platte scored 6 to go up 6-0. Second quarter, Platte outscored Hamlin 14-6. Third quarter, Platte outscored Hamlin 3-0. And then the fourth quarter, Platte kind of blew things out of the water by outscoring them 19-6. Overall, solid game by Platte, I thought.
I thought we were talking about a different game here, but that's all right.
Here we go.
We are on the Platte game.
I got them all
9AA.
Yeah,
Okay. Anyways, yes, very, very good game by both teams. Platte obviously showed everyone that they were the better team and the best team in the state this year. I think Viborg is the best team because Chase Mason was out. That's the only reason they didn't go there where they did. But you touched on what they have going on, and they're going to be pretty good next year, I think, too. They're
going to be a solid team for a couple years to come.
I agree. So, a 30-point win for Platte that's the biggest deficit.
That's a big statement.
It very much is, and Hamlin really didn't rush very well, and that's what they kind of sat on, and they needed the Cameron Thuy to have a good game, and he really didn't.
Nope.
So that was the only reason that they dropped that game.
So now we go on to the game 2 of the week, I believe, was Del Rapids St. Mary Woolsey Western 9B.
Yep. So the Woolsey Wessington game, Woolsey takes it by 18, and you can hit stats here. But I was very impressed with Connor Libis's and also the rushing attack of Woolsey Wessington. Woolsey Wessington's obviously a very balanced team, and you've seen that. But there's no person on Woolsey Wessington that has a ton more than anybody else. You got a guy at 64 yards, a guy at 61 yards, 52, and then 10. So you got a bunch of guys who are really putting in very good work. And then there's Connor Libis, which was the only guy Del Rapids St. Mary's had.
Yep. So, final score, Woolsey Weston 32, Del Rapids St. Mary 14. Woolsey Weston opened the game by scoring 12 in the first quarter, 6 in the second, none in the third, and 14 in the fourth for the total of 32. Del Rapids St. Mary scored 8 in the third and 6 in the fourth for their total of 14. Just some team stats here. For Del Rapids St. Mary's, they had 181 rushing yards on 39 attempts, no touchdowns. Passing yards, they had 128 on 11 for 18 for 2 touchdowns. And then for Woolsey Westonton, 185 rushing yards, like you said, very balanced attack they had on 35 attempts. And they went 14 for 17 passing with 173 and a touchdown.
Now we're going to hit the 9A game, which was very interesting to me. I didn't think it was going to be this close.
I didn't either.
And low scoring. I thought it was going to be a high scoring game for sure. 12-0, Canastota Freeman wins it. You know, Tice Ortman had the best game we've seen in a long time since in a state championship. I mean, you think back to Tupac Capella in Sioux Falls, Washington. It's the last great performance that we've seen since Tice Ortman did what he did. But that is impressive.
Yep, so your final score, Canastota Freeman 12, Warner 0. Canastota scores their points in the second and third quarter, scoring 6 each. Just some overall team stats. Rushing, Canastota Freeman, 46 attempts, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, highlighted by 253 rushing yards by Tice Ortman. Passing yards, 5 for 11, 42 yards, nothing real special there. Warner, they didn't have much going for them. 31 rushing attempts for 85 yards. They went 6 for 15 passing with 58 yards, 1 interception, and no touchdowns.
Now we're going to head to the 11B game, where it was Winter and Bridgewater Emory Ethan, and Winter takes it by 4. You know, Bridgewater had that last chance there at the end to come down and do something, and, you know, Winter really showed why they're who they are, just a hard-nosed team.
Yep.
And you can see, look at the stats here, and you can hit this in a second, but Winter just has a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that carried the ball for them, and Bridgewater has 3. You know, it's a whole different deal, numbers-wise, when Winter can come out here and play all these guys. It is such a different game for Winter than it is for anybody else because of the personnel they have.
Yep, I 100% agree with that. Now for some stats. Final score, Winter 18, Bridgewater Emory Ethan 14. Bridgewater Emory Ethan scored 7 in the second and 7 in the third for their 14 points. Winter scored 12 in the second and 6 in the third for their 18 points. Some team stats for Bridgewater Emory, 33 rushes for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then passing 9 for 16, 55 yards, 1 interception, no touchdowns. For Winter, like you said, they had 6 rushers in the game. 49 rush attempts for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they went 2 for 5 passing, 57 yards, no touchdowns. You don't really expect them to do very much passing.
No, but when they do, they'll throw it over top of your head.
Yep.
So now let's hit the Canton T game. You know, this was a game I could see very, very big margin of defeat here. I didn't think Canton had much of a chance, and T did what everyone thought they were going to do, and they won at 35-16. You know, I don't know a lot about either of these teams, but I love the balance for T, and that's why they won this game.
Yep. Final score, T 35, Canton 16. Canton scored 8 in the third and 8 in the fourth for their 16 points. T blew the door open in the first quarter with 21 and scored 7 in the second and 7 in the third for their total of 35. For Canton, they had 22 rushes for 81 yards and 1 touchdown. And passing, they went 8 for 25, 2 interceptions, and 96 yards with 1 touchdown. For T, pretty balanced attack they had with 5 different rushers. 28 rushes for 254 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they went 7 for 10 passing for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I will note just quick, you could see a very open 11A class next year. It's whoever wants it next year. You could see Madison in there too. So now we're going to go to the biggest upset in the bracket, Pier versus Brookings. No one's seen this coming, and Pier wins it by 32.
Yeah, it was definitely the biggest upset I've ever seen, I think. Because I don't think either of us had this game even being any close.
Not many people in the state did either.
Nobody in the state
really didn't have this game, and nobody had this game.
No. Pier pulls it out somehow, 38-6 over Brookings. Brookings scores their 6 points in the first quarter. Pier scores 7 in the first, 21 in the second, and 10 in the fourth for their total of 38. Some team stats for Pier, 40 rushes, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They went 10 for 19 passing, 151 yards, and 3 touchdowns. For Brookings, they had a lot of rushes by a lot of different guys, but a lot of them were also negative yards. But in total, they went 37 rushes for 158 yards and a touchdown. They went 4 for 13 passing, 2 interceptions, and 24 yards.
You know, we did kind of see this coming in. We said if Prien was going to take this game, it was going to be by their offense and not their defense, and they just outscored them, and that's what's going to happen.
Their defense also helped them on a lot by only holding.
Correct,
Best offense is 11 AA to 6 points.
I know, so it'll be interesting to see what that class does, too, next year with people moving and everything, too. So now let's talk the Harrisburg-Brandon Valley game. You know, I didn't see this being a 3-touchdown game. I thought it was going to be closer than that, but it ended up being 35-14, and Brandon wins it. But, you know, I'm very happy for both teams making it this far, and nothing against Roosevelt, but I like seeing underdogs in there.
Yeah, it was definitely an underdog battle. I believe it was. They're 2 in the 4 seed.
2 in the 4.
2 in the 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly. But
it might have been 2 in the 3, too.
Yep. But it was a good underdog fight. Very well fought battle overall. Brandon Valley wins it 35-14 over Harrisburg. Harrisburg scores their points 7 in the first, 7 in the second. Brandon Valley scores 7 in the first, 7 in the second, 14 in the third, and 7 in the fourth. Some team stats for Harrisburg: 25 rushes for only 36 yards.
That's not very good.
But 2 touchdowns. But their passing game kind of made up for it. 29 for 42. 301 yards, but 3 interceptions. That really hurt him there. Brandon Valley rushing 41 attempts for 371 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's a lot of yards.
Yes.
And passing, they didn't have to do much because their running game was working. 4 for 7 for 45 yards and a touchdown.
So that about wraps that up. I mean, we can hit this Harrisburg quick. Harrisburg was 7-4 throughout the year, and comes in and rushes 36 yards in the state championship game. That's unheard of, especially at the level that they're at. But Jacob Knuth comes in and throws for 301, like you said. That's a lot, and that might be a record for a state championship.
That is a lot of yards to be put up there. But didn't really help him because he threw 3 picks. But I think Brandon Valley's defense just overpowered him in the run game, which is why they had to throw it so much.
Yes.
So I believe that wraps it up for the 26th episode, I believe,
it's 26th.
of the CharCole podcast. We will have no podcast next week due to Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And then the week after that, we're doing the basketball preview, interviewing both coaches and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.